I'm Casey Claiborne, and thanks for watching this CrimeWatch YouTube exclusive, where we take a look back at recent crime stories that have been making headlines in our area. Several people from Central Texas are set to spend life in prison for driving while intoxicated. They didn't hurt or kill anyone, but have more than 5 DWI convictions. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis spoke with one of the people in prison.
Can't you see here? You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need.
Country and Western musician Gary Gibbs lived the life of traveling and late nights at the bar, trying to make it big.
I had a recording contract, and my manager from Nashville flew in, and I was getting ready to sign it. And this voice said, "Don't sign that contract. You're going over the edge. There's no coming back." So that night I walked away.
The lifestyle filled with temptation to drink was too much.
I would have drank myself to death.
Gibbs was an alcoholic.
I would get out of bed and have to have a drink because I had to have it to function after a while.
And in 1988, his problem became worse.
Then I started drinking more heavy and everything else.
He says his relationship was failing and his son was sick in the hospital.
When I turned 32 is when I started getting DWI. And after I split up with my second wife and just didn't have any cares about life too much anymore after that. You lose your ambitions, you lose your sight, and so you go back to the only thing you know, and when you go back to the only thing you know, that's usually the bottle.
Gibbs racked up 8 DWI convictions, and in 2004, he was sentenced to life in prison.
What did alcohol cost you?
My life. Pretty much my life.
But he says prison saved his life.
Had I not been here, I would have been dead a long time ago, I'm sure.
He had to stop drinking, and he found God.
I'd never put all my heart into anything except music. So he had to become greater than my first love, and my first love was music.
So using his talents, he says he hopes to help others in prison who may be dealing with alcoholism.
You don't even know where to turn. And so hopefully I can help somebody in here from not having to go through all of that. If they're here for the first time, if they're here for 2 years or whatever, that'd be great. Plant some seeds and tell them to go to a church.
Gibbs is eligible for parole in December 2033. He'll be 77 years old.
There is a heaven and there is a place that we're all going to be going. And what God has for us is perfect. It's exact, this man is not going to spend any more time than what he was supposed to do in prison.
Austin police are asking for help in finding a hit-and-run driver. Take a look. Police say this black Ford Expedition rear-ended another vehicle last Wednesday, causing injuries to the other driver. The crash happened in North Austin on the southbound service road of I-35 near Howard Lane. Police say the driver of the Expedition didn't stop to render aid or exchange information. If you have any information that will help identify this guy, you are asked to leave a tip with Crime Stoppers. Kyle police are looking for the car involved in a serious hit-and-run. Around 5 p.m. on Labor Day, police found 57-year-old Lamar Garwood lying on the grassy median along the southbound 35 frontage road near Center Street with serious injuries. Police say he had just been hit by a car. It's described as a white sedan with damage to the driver's side bumper and headlight. If you have any information on that, call Kyle police. A jury has sentenced DeAndre White to 30 years in prison for the murder of Douglas Cantor during a mass shooting on 6th Street in 2021. The decision came after a 2-week-long trial and hours of jury deliberation. Fox 7 Austin's Amanda Ruiz has a wrap-up from the courthouse.
Yes, the jury spent a combined total of 11 hours deliberating DeAndre White's guilty verdict and his sentence. He will now spend the next 30 years in prison. After a 2-week-long murder trial.
The jury found the defendant, DeAndre White, guilty of the offensive murder.
A jury sentenced 21-year-old DeAndre White for the murder of Douglas Cantor in the 2021 6th Street mass shooting.
Further assess his punishment and confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 30 years.
It's a sentence that sits bittersweet for the Cantor family.
Guilty verdict on a murder case and a sentence in prison. None of that brings Doug back. But we're comforted that at least some measure of justice occurred.
Because in the long run, that's truly all what Julia Cantor wants.
This is Doug. What's left of him?
She said she would do anything to have her son back.
The only small comfort I get is that I can hold Doug's ashes close to me.
This murder trial has been long for the Cantor family, but Doug Cantor's father, Joe, says nothing compares to the pain they've endured for the last 2 years as a result of DeAndre White's actions.
What you did that June night has forever changed the lives of so many people. All the plans we had, we will never get a chance to see them materialize. If you had met him and been fortunate enough to meet him, perhaps we wouldn't be here tonight.
Doug's older brother, Nick, taking to Twitter to share his thoughts on the sentence, writing, quote, "I guess 30 years with parole at 15 is the measure of what Doug's life is worth. I hope that the other 14 victims feel more justice than we do."
While you're still sitting in your cell somewhere, you think about your actions that night and how different things could have been.
As for White,
Good luck to you, sir.
he held his face in his hands after the sentence was read, his family sitting in the row behind him in disbelief.
They're very disappointed, obviously, in the outcome.
His defense attorney, Russ Hutt Jr., says White is remorseful for his actions from June 12, 2021.
DeAndre would never want anyone to believe that he went out there with the intention to hurt anybody. He feels terrible about what happened, is terribly remorseful about all the people that were injured.
White will receive credit for the time already served in prison. He will be eligible for parole after 15 years. Reporting at the courthouse, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 7 Austin News.
A person of interest has been taken into custody after a man was shot to death in Buda. The victim was found unconscious a little after midnight on September 7th at a travel center off of I-35. EMS was called out, but he later died from his injuries. Surveillance video captured the incident, and authorities were able to locate the suspect's vehicle after a short pursuit. Person was arrested. If you have any additional information about the incident, you're asked to call the Hays County Sheriff's Office. A North Austin woman has been missing for more than 38 years. No one has seen or heard from her, and the Williamson County Sheriff's Office wants an answer. On this Missing in Texas, Fox 7 Austin's Libby Farrow dives into the disappearance of Althea Linnell Rogers.
It's been 38 years since anyone has seen Althea Linnell Rogers.
At the time, she was self-employed. She cleaned houses. She had expressed interest to different friends and family that she wanted to start a new business called Green Things in the future.
On October 2nd, 1985, Althea had dropped her car off at an auto mechanic. Shortly after, police say she asked the mechanic if he could give her a ride to the intersection of I-35 and Breaker Lane.
She was given that ride, and at that time she was last seen walking towards 35. Don't know if her intentions were to, hitch a ride, go somewhere. She has ties to a couple different states, Arizona, Colorado, and Florida.
Do we have any idea why or where she would be going and why she has ties to those states?
She has family and ex-husbands in a couple different of these states.
Althea's daughter recalled a moment from that day.
I had been up all night working, and one of her ex-husbands picked me up. She had called him and told him she was leaving, and so he picked me up.
When police checked her home for evidence, they found a note with a caption that said, "Linnell Rogers no longer exist."
We went back to our house, and that's when I seen she had taken her license and cut it up and said, "Linnell Rogers no longer exists," and had packed, some clothes, I guess.
With her leaving the note and everything, maybe she wanted to start fresh again somewhere else. If she just wanted to start a new life somewhere, that's It's completely within her right to do that,
Yeah.
and we would just like to know that so we could clear her out as a
Right.
missing person.
Rogers had more than 9 different aliases. Linnell Rogers, Althea Thornton, Linnell Rod, these are just to name a few. What police don't know is why.
I do not know the answer as to why she had any more of those aliases.
At the time of her disappearance, she was recently divorced and had a daughter, Deborah.
It was reported to us that the daughter and her had got into a little argument. She then just left.
So we had like a civil conversation, you know, at first about her changing her name and leaving and all of this. And then she got mad at me because I wasn't home that day. The electricity was turned off, and that just set her off for some reason.
On the day of her disappearance, she was last seen wearing jeans and possibly wearing an orange backpack with a handgun, although police cannot confirm if she had a handgun or not.
So she left on her own, but something definitely happened along the way, I think. I don't think she still has her name changed and is living, you know, a life. I don't think she could, because she hasn't had communication with anybody. No family members, no friends, no nothing. There's been zero communication.
Althea also drained her bank account that day, and it hasn't been touched since.
She left everything you would normally think you would take if you were leaving.
And a lot of these websites say that she's like an endangered missing person. Maybe foul play is suspected. Do we have a reason why we think that?
Foul play is suspected. It's just due to the circumstances that she would, you know, she would just up and leave, not tell her any of her family, you know, primarily her daughter, where she's going, and not ever attempt contact with her again. We find that to be strange, and with the relationship that they had at the time, you know, that just adds to our suspicion that something could have happened to her.
Police had an age progression photo made of Althea.
It was done by Natalie Murray. She, you know, took everything into account with, you know, everything that was said about her, and all of that was used to create the most accurate age progression sketch possible.
I asked Deborah what she wanted to know and or have the most.
I would like a body, you know, something to bury and say this is what had happened.
And police want to help her get there, if that's the case.
She's still out there. If they wish to remain anonymous, or if they know Althea's location, and if she is out there, we'd like to speak with her, know that she's safe and she wasn't, you know, forced against her will anywhere, and then we would, you know, the investigation into this case would be complete once we find her and we know she's safe and she wasn't forced to go anywhere that, you know, that she didn't want to go.
If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Althea Linnell Rogers, contact the Williamson County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. You can also contact Williamson County Crime Stoppers. Ending in Houston, where a police chase turned deadly after the driver of a stolen car slammed into a group of vehicles stopped at a red light. The woman who died in the crash was the mother of a Houston police sergeant. Fox's Natalie He has the story.
I'm devastated. I was robbed on Monroe Road at gunpoint for my car, and this is what it led to. This is the results.
Around 8 p.m. Wednesday night, Kathleen Hill says she was carjacked at gunpoint at the 8400 block of Monroe.
That complainant had some type of tracking system working with the dealership. So sometime this morning, she contacted HPD.
Police were able to track down her car about 10 miles away and attempted to arrest the 2 suspects believed to be in their teens or early 20s and armed. But the suspects sped off to the intersection of MLK and Van Fleet. Surveillance video from a nearby gas station then captures the horrific crash as the suspect slammed into an innocent woman's car waiting at the stoplight, killing her.
Viene la policía.
2 others were also injured, including Jose Aguilar, who says the suspects were being chased by police. But Chief Finner believes this incident was not a policy issue. His remarks come after HPD has been highly scrutinized following several deadly high-speed chases.
They wasn't actively pursuing this vehicle. These suspects, in both of them, no regard for anybody, crashed into this lady. If you shot a gun and you fired it into a crowd What would the punishment be? We need the same damn punishment when people are fleeing in vehicles, because it makes no sense.
That was Fox's Natalie He reporting. When asked if HCPD will make adjustments to the way they handle police chases, Chief Fenner said he would, saying, quote, everybody in the criminal justice system is going to have to take an active role to do their part, getting suspects in jail who need to be in jail, but also from a legislative standpoint, making sure that we understand the seriousness of people fleeing from the police. Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch YouTube exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you missed them, you can watch anytime on our new Fox Local Connected TV app. It's free to download, and you can watch on Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Fire TV. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.